Hello and welcome to Pi Circle. We have started an initiative wherein we'll be taking the classes of NCERT, class 11th and 12th Geography. We'll be discussing each chapters in a section wise so that the entire chapter will be more comprehensive and easy to understand. Today we'll be discussing the chapter 1 of NCERT class 11th, Geography as a Discipline. This chapter is important as it gives us the glimpse of the geography. Why is geography important to us? How does geography impact our lives? So let us see the contents. Why do we study geography? How is geography important to us? Definition of geography. What do we study in geography? Geography as a discipline, branch of geography, and finally the conclusion. Before I start, why do we study geography? Let me just tell you first the importance of geography. How is geography important to us? Since we all know that geography, our surroundings affect our lives. So when we say that our surroundings affect our lives, what we mean by that is, say for example, a climate. If we take the example of a climate, the type of a climate in a particular region implies what type of clothes people have to wear in that particular region. For example, in the northern areas, say for the north hemisphere, the climate is very cold, so the people wear warm clothes. Similarly, in the regions closer to the equator, the climate almost remains, the temperature almost remains the same, so you'll see different type of clothes wearing people in those regions. So one was the clothes, another is how does climate affect is food habit. See, in particular region, if we have one type of climate, naturally the vegetation will be different. Okay, in the northern regions there are one kind of vegetation, and in the southern region, closer to the equator, the vegetation is totally different. So this type of vegetation affects people in a way that they choose a different type of diet. So इससे क्या होता है, particularly we'll see एक रीजन में अगर इंसान रहता है, से फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम बात करेंगे हिमालयन रीजन की, तो वहाँ पे जो क्लाइमेट जो है ठंडा होता है, ठीक है. तो उस वजह से कौन सा फूड लेते हैं लोग, वो फूड प्रेफर करते हैं जो धीरे धीरे एब्जॉर्ब होता है. उससे क्या होता है कि उनकी बॉडी में वार्मथ मिलती है. तो ये भी पता चला था क्लाइमेट से कैसे फूड हैबिट्स ऑल्टर होते हैं. एंड थर्ड इज द कल्चर. कैसे कल्चर, इफ यू सी द कल्चर, if people living in a particular region will wear a particular type of clothes, will have a different kind of food style. इसके अलावा they will do different activities, जिसकी वजह से लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल उनका ऑक्यूपेशन एक किस्म का होगा, विच ऑल इनका जो सारा क्यूमुलेटिव इफेक्ट ये होगा कि दे विल एंड अप फॉर्मिंग अ कल्चर ऑफ दिस पीपल, एंड विच इनडायरेक्टली विल बी डिपेंडेंट ऑन द क्लाइमेट ऑफ दैट रीजन. सेकेंड, हाउ सराउंडिंग्स अफेक्ट अवर लाइफ is by landscape. See, we all know that landscape or topography has played an important role in the historical events. For example, we know that in India, the Himalayas have always acted as a barrier, okay, for the invaders. But there were some passes, okay, जहाँ से invaders आने लगे. Similarly, ancient times में जो sea था, that acted as a barrier, क्योंकि वहाँ से navigation तो था नहीं, तो people could not come from sea. So there was no navy was not there in fact, but था कुछ regions थे, जैसे cholas थे, they were having their navy. But altogether if we see that Himalayas में कुछ passes की वजह से invaders आए. Similarly, जब navigation develop हुआ, उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ कि sea route की वजह से यूरोपियंस आए. अब इससे क्या पता चलता है कि लैंडस्केप की वजह से हिस्टोरिकल इवेंट्स चेंज हो गए. हैड देयर नॉट बीन द सी देयर, तो वो उनसे पहले ही आए होते. हैड देयर नॉट बीन द हिमालयंस देयर, तो कितने और ज़्यादा इन्वेडर्स आए होते. सो दिस एक्सप्लेन्स व्हाई द इन्वेजन इन द एंशिएंट एंड मिडिवल टाइम टुक प्लेस from north and not from the south, but in the later medieval area it took place from southern parts of India, southern parts of subcontinent, in fact, from where the Europeans, first Portuguese, came. So historical events have played a lot of role, have played a role, the surroundings have played a role in historical events. Similarly, if we just see an example, Panipat. So many wars have been fought in Panipat. Why? Because of the landscape. वहाँ का जो land था वो fertile था, और it was suiting for Afghan invaders वहाँ पे fight करना. Second is the occupation, the type of a landscape or a topography, the type of occupation the people will have in that region. For example, if we see in northeast region, we have different type of landscape. तो वहाँ पे plantation क्या होती है, वहाँ पे plantation activities, tea plantation होती है. Just because of that landscape, वहाँ पे occupation का वहाँ पे occupation का tea plantation का है. And it also affects the environment and the ecology. Obviously, the Himalayas have one type of ecology, the Western Ghats have another type, the coastal region, the deltas have another type of ecology. Finally, if we see the water is an important base, as we know that water has always played a role in building a civilization. So, for example, जो early civilization थे, जैसे for example Indus Valley civilization, कहाँ पे develop हुई? Near river Indus, ठीक है? तो ये पता चलता है कि water has always been an important role in creating a civilization. Okay, so this is how the surrounding. This is just a glimpse. एक idea देना चाहता हूँ मैं यहाँ पे कि कैसे surroundings जो है they are affecting our lives. Also, water से क्या होता था कि people used to live close by rivers. So that they can trade. I mean, उस time का जो transportation means of transportation was by river. So that's why they used to make this civilization and used to live close by the river. Also, if you see the resource base, these are just examples. There are other also, but I'm just giving the main examples: climate, landscape, water, and resource base. So the area having a large resources will be more developed. Okay, say for example any country having a large number of resources, that country will be able to exploit those resources more and more, which will lead to the development of the society, I mean that country. Similarly, any particular region having one type of resource will determine the occupation of that area. Just an example, for example, if you see the areas where in India where the iron ore is being extracted more, तो वहाँ पे हम steel industries को देखेंगे. अब ऐसा क्यों है? Because transportation की वजह से less cost हो तो वहीं पे industries को establish किया जा रहा है. तो वहाँ पे हम mining, जैसे मेघालय अगर हम देखेंगे वहाँ पे minerals निकलते हैं तो वहाँ पे mining as an activity देखेंगे predominant. So which means resource base also decides the type of occupation as well as the development and other things also. So this just gives an idea that how surrounding is important in our lives, how it affects our lives. Why is geography, which is basically where we study the surroundings, how it affect our lives, how is it important to us. Since now we know that this is very much important to our lives, that our surroundings affect our life, geography is very important, then it becomes imperative for us to know, to study the geography. Now, why do we study the geography? The another point is, why do we study the geography? First and foremost, we know that we have a resource base. That's for sure that we have a resource base. Now, if we keep on exploiting the resources by the primitive methods, that may not be an efficient. Okay, that may not be an efficient way. We will end up losing a large chunk of resources. By the way, the country is, I mean, the entire world is having a resource deficit. So by not working in a productive way, it will further create problems. So what we need is technological development. So technological development means we have to understand the resource base, what kind of resources there, how it will be exploited in a more productive way so that our efficiency will go up. So another thing is that since we know that different type of climates are there, different type of food habits, culture, different kind of ecology, environment, how they play a role in an ecosystem. So this helps us to understand the region's importance and how we are interlinked with each other. This gives us an understand and appreciate the diversity that our earth have. Similarly, first and this is the most important thing, that we need to understand the cause. Say for example, any event, say any volcanic eruption happened there. So it's not like it just happened. We need to understand the cause. The geographers, the scientists are always looking for the cause behind this for many reasons. A, they need to understand the cause so that they can in future they can predict if same event happens. Also, they can cause a preventive measures. If that is going to happen in a region which is similar, having the similar condition, they can prevent people, they can prevent the losses to the people as well as to the property. So to improve our efficiency, to appreciate the diversity, and to understand the cause behind any physical phenomena. So this was why do we study geography. Now the thing is that what is the definition of a geography? So the geography is, in simple terms, it is the description of Earth. It has been, this term geography has been coined by Eratosthenes. He was a Greek scholar. Geo means earth and graphos means description. So in simple it means description of the definition of geography. We will look into the consideration. What do we study in a geography? First and foremost, we study the areal differentiation. What do we mean by areal differentiation? We'll study the differentiation, the variation in the topographies across the earth. Say in different regions, Himalayas have one topography. Similarly, the plains, the northern plains have another. The plateaus and the peninsula has one type of topography. So we'll study the differentiation in different regions. We'll also study the cause and effect relationship. See, I have already discussed about the cause and effect relationship, that if any physical phenomena happens, like for example volcanic eruption or any tsunami, so we'll understand what is the cause behind it. That will help us in understanding that will help us in projecting in future such kind of if such kind of disaster or any phenomenon that took place in future, we'll be able to predict about it. Third is the nature and human interaction. See, humans have always played a great role in nature. They have molded the nature. So there is a human imprint on the nature. It is humans have molded the nature in such a way that it suits them. Also, there are some anthropogenic activities which were undesirable, like for example global warming. These are also the human interaction that we need to understand with nature. So fourth is a spatial distribution, wherein we discuss the any feature, any physical phenomena happening in a particular location, and that is absent or is little in another place. Just because of that location, because of climate, temperature, humidity, and or any other factors, that this feature takes place in that region. So we'll also look into that. We also look into that when we study geography. So the another thing is that geography as a discipline. See, now we understood that geography, why is geography important? What do we study in a geography? Now we need to understand that geography as a subject is a integrating discipline. What do I mean by integrating discipline? See, geography is not, you cannot isolate geography by saying that geography belongs to surrounding. We need to understand, we need to study only environment, or we need to study just ecology or particular thing. Geography is integrating in a means that we also connect it with history. Say for example, we are taking any historical factor, say for example Battle of Panipat, as I already said. In Battle of Panipat there were some many factors, but one factor was geographical. The location was such that it became a battleground. The location, the plain, the area was so fertile, and there were no mountains, so that became a natural choice for fighting those wars. So geography had played a role there. Similarly, there are other disciplines like social sciences, like for example in economy, any region having a high resources will be economically more developed. So we can understand that geographical factor also plays a role there. So geography is an integrating discipline. Also, like for example physical geography and natural sciences, there is a link between a physical geography and natural science. How? See, hydrology or any other science for that matter, climatology, these are all the different sciences that we read, but they have the chain with the geography. So we study them, we study them, we have a geographical viewpoint while studying different sciences. For example, studying biological science, like studying the plant vegetation, we're studying the vegetation in the region, studying the life of humans or animals in a particular region. So we'll understand how the geography has played a role in the development of these creatures. Also, geography and other sciences like social sciences, like for example I said history, it is linked with history. Also I said about for example demography. Okay, here in population, when we say social science as a subject, we say population is one of the chapters or one of the topics in social science. The population is also concerned with the geography. How? Say for example, in particular region there was an abundance of water. Because of the abundance of water, because of the quality, the cities got developed, the population increases, the demography of that region changed. So just because of the geographical factor, okay, the entire history, the entire population of that region changes. So there is a link between the geography and the social science for that matter. Now we'll consider the branch of geography. Since there are two approaches in studying the branch of geography. First is the systematic approach. In systematic approach, which was given by Alexander von, what we do is we study the entire earth as a whole. Then we consider the phenomena. Say for example, consider any phenomena in a particular region, like there is any change in a particular region. For example, let me just put it in this way: we'll study the natural vegetation of the entire world. Then we will look the vegetation in the tropical region. Because of some change in the temperature, climate, there will be a different vegetation. Okay, then we will isolate them and we'll try to figure it out that what kind of differentiation exists in these areas. So it's basically in systematic approach, we'll study the entire earth as a whole, any physical phenomena, vegetation, climate, temperature, we'll study the entire we'll study that of entire, then we'll differentiate the patches where the difference occurs. Similarly, a regional approach given by Carl Ritter. In this, what we do, we study any physical phenomena in a small specific area. For example, we'll study the impact of climate, or we'll study the climate of one country or one region. Okay, we'll study the climate of southern India, we'll study the climate of Southeast Asia, we'll study, or and then what we'll do, we'll integrate them, the different regions. It could be small, it could be as big as country. Then we'll integrate those small patches and forms an integrated picture in regional. So in systematic approach, there are four branches of geography. First is physical geography, wherein we'll study geomorphology, which is studying about the evolution of the landscapes and all those. Climatology, studying about the weather, the climate, the atmosphere. Hydrology, studying about oceans, rivers, lakes, waters. And soil geography, formation of soil, and all those we'll study here. Human geography, wherein we'll study the social-cultural geography, which I already mentioned, that how the society evolved on the cultural basis, like because of having water in one region, the urbanization happened in that region. Also, we'll study the population. Again, the same thing, how the population and like it is related with the demography, how the population of the region is affected by the geography. Settlement, how urban and rural life is different, what are the factors or the geographical factors. We'll also study the economic geography. Economic geography will study the trade, the tourism, the resource bases, the travel, I mean the tourism and the trade, the different geographical factors, the location, the special distribution of a country, like a location of a country in particular region, which makes it a trade hub. Similarly, the historical geography, wherein we study the historical events in the light of geography. Also, the political geography will study the maps. We'll study about the country, the demarcation of a country, how the country is being isolated, how the country is demarcated. For example, let me take an example of in India. So, because of the south, we are differentiated from the rest of the world with the help of a coastline. Similarly, in the north, with the help of an Himalayas. So, this tells us the political. This gives us an imprints. This gives an idea how the geography has shaped our borders. Similarly, the biogeography. In biogeography, we'll study the plant, vegetation, animals, development of animals in the light of geography. Also, the ecology, impact of ecology, which is the most important point. I mean, important thing to read. Environment. These are all the branches of geography via systematic approach. Similarly, via regional. What is regional, by the way? Regional is studying patches, okay, not studying the geography or in any aspect, any physical phenomena as a whole, but studying it in a small level and then integrating the entire to form a bigger picture. So we also study it in a regional basis or area studies. It's also divided into micro, meso, macro, meso, and micro. We'll also study the regional planning, in a country base, country level, state level, district level, regional development, how the in particular region how development has taken place, regional analysis will do. These are all that geographical, these are all the branches of geography. So this ends our chapter. While concluding, I just want to highlight these 2 points here. One, why do we need to study geography? Please keep this on mind. The importance of geography. I just have highlighted some of the points, but these are not enough. There are other factors also which explains to us why geography is important to us and why do we need to study geography. This chapter was mainly focusing upon why do we need to study the geography and how does geography impact our life and what do we study in geography. Now moving forward in our upcoming lectures, in chapter 2, 3, 4 and respectively, they will be focusing mostly on physical geography, which is basically studying about the landscape, climate, hydrosphere. We'll study about the soil formation, we'll study about lakes, rivers, oceans. This will be the main focus of this entire chapter. Basically this 11th NCERT is more focusing on physical geography. We'll be taking those in our next sessions. Till then, thanks a lot.